Pro boxing fans, we are here in Manchester. Dev, Sahni, look, you've done many a press conference before, and you've been absolutely fantastic. And I've never seen a table thrown your way, which was quite entertaining. It was perfect. Was that? Have you been waiting for this moment? You know, like people wait for world titles. Have you been waiting for that chair thrown moment?
I can retire. It's happened. It's happened. Listen, I'll be honest. I've been waiting. I've done a number of these press conferences now, and I try. I really try. I try and stir it. I watch their interviews. I pull up little things that they've said about each other. But some of these fighters, they don't buy it. They just, I'll let my fist do the talking. Bore off. You know, that's how you do your talking up there today. Love that. I know. There'll be some saying no, you shouldn't be flipping tables. That's good fun though, isn't it? It's good fun. So yeah, listen, I've been waiting for a moment like that, a flashpoint where security have to storm the stage to keep fighters apart, where drinks are being spilt, where fighters are being escorted off the stage but still swearing at each other, and I'm there going like this. Today, it happened. In the words of Jim Lampley, it happened.
I actually spoke to Frank just before you go on stage. I go, Frank, you might have to step in today for our security because it might get heated in there, but it did. Let's talk about these two fighters, Adeleye and Jeamie TKV. They've had history. They've sparred each other. They've been friends. They've been mates, man. And it got very personal very quickly on that stage. What did you make of the back and forth between the two?
I don't think they're friends anymore, Oon, if I'm honest. I don't think they're friends anymore because they clearly brought up things that were private, where they've had private conversations with each other, that they probably, as friends, you assume they stay private. They brought things to the public domain in front of the watching world. So now everyone who watched that press conference has got this new information, which probably they shouldn't necessarily have. I loved it, Moon. I mean, I guess, the friendship's over. I would say maybe they can rekindle it after the fight on Saturday. I don't know. Probably.
Yeah.
Do you think so? Because
we've seen worse situation with the fighters have shook afterwards, right?
Yeah,
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure because we've seen it, but we haven't seen fighters get personal necessarily in the build-up and then do the big hug at the end. Oh, it's all promo. It's all promo. Yeah, why'd you say that, bro? Do you know what I mean? But it's a great fight, British heavyweight title, and I'm here for it. I'm here for some good British beef on Saturday night.
Let's talk about the main event, and I do want to talk about Filip Hrgovic. He was the man that everyone was talking about prior to the Daniel Dubois fight, saying, listen, he's going to be the next world champion. He can fight against the big boys. And then obviously Daniel did what he did. Not to take Filip's performance away that night. It was a good performance, but he came up short and couldn't stop Daniel. For Joe as well, he's had a couple of losses now and come back against Cash Ali. Maybe it wasn't the performance that he wanted, but in your eyes, who's favourite in this fight?
Well, look, the bookies have made Filip Hrgovic the favourite. Do I agree with that? I don't know. I don't think Joe's getting enough credit for the Chisora performance. I think people are looking at he lost to Chisora and he got knocked down, which is the obvious thing to look at, but he only lost because of the knockdown, and it wasn't like he's hurt, he's wobbling about all over the place knockdown. He was just got caught square on, basically, and he went down from that. And by the way, he still kept giving Chisora absolute hell for the rest of that fight. And Chisora, you saw him afterwards. He knew he was in a fight, and he said it was really hard in there. So that was Joe Joyce's last fight, where he ended still giving it as much as he could to Chisora. He didn't look particularly tired afterwards. And maybe if that had been 12 rounds, maybe he'd have won. Don't know. You saw how tired Chisora looked. So I think people are looking into that loss quite a lot. Obviously, the Zhang defeats quite a lot. Hergovich is nothing like Zhang, and he's nothing like Chisora. Hergovich will be looking to knock out Joe Joyce, I'd imagine, throwing that right hand pretty hard, pretty early. But he's not a concussive puncher either. Daniel Dubois will tell you that. So if Joe Joyce's punch resistance is still what it was, then he could just withstand that and then stop Hergovich late. That could be something. So I genuinely don't know. It kind of depends on how much Joe Joyce has his chin been cracked.
That was going to be my question. Do you feel like, are we going to find out if his punch resistance has gone? Because I was listening to TalkSport, and that was one of the topics that they were talking about in regards to Joe.
The thing is, I'm not convinced it has. I know Zhang knocked him out, But Zhang would have, and I'd advise him against doing so, but he'd have knocked out an elephant with that punch, and it's not something he should be looking to do, but that was such a big shot. So it's just that one knockout. And by the way, Joe got up, ridiculous. And then the shot against Chisora where he got caught and he was square on where you shouldn't be. So has the chin gone? I don't know, he looked all right. He got up after the Chisora knockdown. I don't know. We'll find out on Saturday. I'm not entirely convinced that it has gone.
Cool. I went to see Daniel Dubois last week, I think it was. He seemed in fine form. He was saying that, look, there's news potentially coming out at some point soon, but there's names that are being bandied about, and he called the 3 biggest names in the division that are available right now: Usyk, Parker, AJ. For you, which fight, as a fan, would you like to see next?
I think the correct answer is all of them on the same night. No, I don't know. I don't know what they... it feels like the ball's kind of in Usyk's court right now, and I'm not close to any of this stuff, so let me just put that disclaimer out there. But as a fan, I'd watch any of them. It feels like it's up to Usyk. Daniel Dubois is the only opponent out there that gives Usyk the opportunity to become a 2-time undisputed champion. There's no one else that gives him that opportunity. So maybe that. I'd also like to see him in with Parker, Dubois. I'd also like to see that put to bed. I'd also like to see him in with AJ. And that'd just be great fun to do again, wouldn't it? AJ would probably fancy it. He probably feels like he underestimated Daniel Dubois, just like Filip Hrgovic did. I don't know which one, but I'm here for any of those options, any of them.
What about Chisora? Frank was on TalkSport, and obviously he's put himself into a position where he could, be fine for the IDF. Is that something that you'd like to see? Actually, they were having a debate on TalkSport whether that fills out Wembley, and I think Spencer Oliver and Addy were like, yeah, it probably does. Do you feel like it does? Yeah, there's a lot of question marks on that for me.
To fill out Wembley, you've basically got to be famous, right? So Tyson Fury is famous. Anthony Joshua is famous. These are guys that have been filling out Wembley. Derek Chisora is famous too. I think he's just behind those two in terms of profile, and he's been around a long time, and he's boxed on multiple channels. Daniel's getting there. The win over AJ would have helped that, doing that in front of that many people, so many people watching. But Derek Chisora in particular, I think he's got a big profile. You see him on that thing with Gary Neville, with the overlap and all of those guys. They don't just get anyone on there. So I think his profile would be able to do it, actually. I think he would. Then
another thing that they were talking about was, would Usyk and Dubois do the same amount of numbers?
Yeah, because I think we're probably overlooking how big of a name Usyk's become as well. And the thing I point to is the crossover audience. Chisora's crossed over. People know who he is. I think people now know who Usyk is as well. He's had that walking about with Gary Neville. I don't know why Gary Neville keeps coming up in this interview, but he's done that, and he's also beaten Anthony Joshua twice. He's also got 2 wins over Tyson Fury. Big fights. And it feels like people know that he's the number 1 heavyweight in the world right now. It feels like people know that. He's the unbeaten one up there. So, I think that could as well. Usyk's a big name now, and look, Daniel, there's a story, there's a narrative. Daniel feels like he knocked out Usyk in the first fight and didn't get the decision, didn't get the knockout. He thought it was a legal punch. Usyk thought it was a low blow, and that can rage on, that can build, and that could be very much a Wembley sellout.
Just a quick final two from myself. Eubank Ben in 2 weeks' time. Amir Khan's obviously given his prediction. I think he's gone back and forth, and it shows how close the fight people think it is. Ricky Hatson's also spoke about it. He said Conor Benn, seems like he's more the aggressor leading up to this fight. For you, 2 weeks out, do you see anything different, and who do you feel like got the edge? Not potentially the winner, but got the edge close to the fight.
I think I want to see what they look like at the weigh-in, and even then he's got to make a weight afterwards, hasn't he? He's got a rehydration thing. I think a lot of this feels like it depends on how comfortable Chris Eubank Jr. is at the weight that they're going to end up fighting at, and that's where it kind of lies for me. Conor Benn is smaller, but he's very aggressive, and he'll be looking to just try and knock out Eubank as quickly as possible. And I think it's about, can Eubank, does he have the energy resource to kind of weather the storm and see Ben in the second half of the fight? That's kind of where it lies for me. I don't know, but I'll be tuned in on DAZN for sure.
Will you be tuned in to Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul?
Absolutely. I'm all the way here for that. I think I just feel like obviously AJ's got to come back. It's a tough fight to take in a comeback. It's a hard fight to take. Do you know who's actually saying that? I think Anthony Joshua would knock out Jake Paul. Of course, I like Jake Paul a lot, but obviously he would get knocked out by Anthony Joshua. You know Dwyer?
Yeah, Dwyer boxing.
Dwyer's gone in. Dwyer's talking about like Jake Paul's like movement in the ring and how AJ struggled with the movement of Povetkin and like how Jake Paul he can move as well. I love Dwyer, but you got to go and watch that video if you can. He's talking about Jake Paul's chances very highly in that fight.
I do like Dwyer, but I think recently he said in a video that the best American heavyweight outside Wilder was really young. I'm sorry, but I couldn't stop laughing when I saw that clip. Fair play to him. But look, Dave, it was eventful today. It was a good fight, good card. Sign us up, man.
Mate, it's all happening. DAZN, new start, new era, a new dawn on DAZN, Queensberry and DAZN Saturday night. What a start. What a start. British heavyweight title on the line. Two fellas that don't like each other anymore. They used to be really good friends. Not anymore. Just in that press conference, can't stand each other. So Adeleye TKV, then the main event. Crossroads. What's Joe Joyce got left? What's Filip Hrgovic got left? Can either of them become a world champion? Find out Saturday.
That's all, man. Sahni. Love that. Thank you very much, mate.